Hey, thank you. Jason Zimmerman has also been in touch with Wisconsin lawmakers and congressional hopefuls tonight. He continues our team coverage from our newsroom. Jason.
Bill, strong feelings on both sides of the aisle tonight, but the big concern is what lies ahead and whether this conviction of former President Donald Trump will swing voters prior to the November election. Among Republicans like Congressman Glenn Grothman, the jury's verdict against Donald Trump on every single count is questionable at best.
It's really a black day for America, and that's regardless of what you think of Donald Trump. This is the type of thing you'd see in a third world country, a banana republic.
A similar reaction from Tony Weed, who's running for Congress in the 8th District as the only Trump-endorsed candidate.
It was a communist-style show trial. It's a complete sham. The Joe Biden administration has weaponized the Department of Justice, and they're using it against their political opponent.
Weed telling us despite the verdict, an event with Donald Trump Jr. in the Green Bay area next week is still a go. Meanwhile, Democrats calling the verdict justified. Senator Tammy Baldwin told us, quote, Donald Trump had his day in court. A jury of his peers saw that there was evidence beyond a reasonable doubt he was guilty. No one, including a former president, is above the law, end quote. We also caught up with Dr. Kristen Lyerly, the Democrat on the ballot in the 8th Congressional.
It's historic. I mean, there's not much more to say. We're all waiting to see what happens from here and how people react to it. But for me personally, I'm focused on Northeast Wisconsin and the issues.
Republicans also calling out the timing of the sentencing, which is just days before Milwaukee is scheduled to host the Republican National Convention.
I think it's not a surprise. I think they want more negative Trump stories at the time when a candidate normally gets a bump up during the convention.
And we also received statements from Roger Roth and State Senator Andre Jacques, who are also running in the 8th congressional race as Republicans. You can read them on our website, WBAY.com. Bill and Cammie, back to you.